Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos.
So, how's that for music, Paulette? Was you like that singing? Because that's what you're getting tonight. That's right. You know, I may have taken a week off, but you get everything. You know what? It's sort of equivalent to the National League playoffs that are happening in baseball, because a rabbi who can sing is like a pitcher who can hit. I don't play very good baseball, and I'm an okay rabbi, so I'll leave it at that. But besides that, you got the two of us here, and we'll have a nice Shabbos. So if you're online on this Shabbat, tell us you're here. Tell us where you're enjoying services from. Tell us how you're making Shabbat special. If you're here with us now, greet one another and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom as we make this time together special.
I will add that as you make those comments online, for those of you that are there, for some reason I can't log in and make comments as well, but we are reading those. So for those of you that asked to add names for Mishberach or anything else, we will see those and happy to add those too. But also, like Sylvia, let us know where you're from, and great to see you out there in Oregon.
Oops, sorry. Volume's off. I'm just getting ready for this too. Okay, Nomi, services have now started. Hopefully you're watching with us. It's all good. Well-oiled machine at Temple Shir Shalom. You know, we begin this week, and the idea of being a community together on Shabbat is making our time special. And I love the teaching that we talk about often of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. This is an island of time. And let me just pause for a moment and just give thanks to all who've sent me greetings and well wishes and prayers and healing thoughts, as well as I've overcome COVID. And I'm doing obviously much better. My quarantine ended yesterday, or Wednesday was my 10 days. And but it's good to have a community to come back to, and have missed you all. I heard it was a wonderful service last week, celebrating some special things at Temple, and disappointed I wasn't part of it, but hey, you know, it works out. But it was a nice reminder for me of who we are as a community and what really matters most. And parties are nice, and time together is always special, but knowing that we're a community and we're connected is what really is most significant, and that was greatly affirmed. You know, early in my time at Temple, I felt that connection and that love. And if you haven't heard the story, just, you know, stay with me for a moment. But on my honeymoon, 4 months into being a rabbi at Temple Shir Shalom, I was warned that when you're a member of Shir Shalom and you're part, we stay connected wherever we are. And my wife and I are on the beach in Maui. And we're sort of cleaning the sand off ourselves as we're standing at the shower there, outdoor shower, of course, and I hear, "Rabbi!" And there's Paulette Coffrin yelling to me, greeting me. And I realized that's right. When you're a part of Shir Shalom, you're always connected. So it was really special feeling that this past week and knowing you've been with me and have helped me in this time. And so I appreciate that. And so it's nice to have Shabbat now at the conclusion of the week, you know, to recognize the blessings that we have as a part of our world and our lives. I came back to Temple today. I was in the office working. It was good to sit down at the desk and to clean things up and to get back to work. And you realize, as busy as we are in life, when you pause for a moment, how important it is to recognize that. You know, those pauses give us that, and to unplug. And, you know, being at work today, part of pausing is the recognition of the blessing to have work to do, to give ourselves purpose, to give ourselves connections too, and how meaningful that is. And so a lot of Shabbat is that reminder that we unplug. You know, we're so connected to our electronics, to our computers. I heard a rabbi this week, Rabbi Michael Lezak, who our friend Dan Nichols introduced me to. He's a rabbi in California who left the pulpit rabbinate to become totally engaged in social justice work and social action. He works at a church now and brings individuals together in all communities in doing social justice. And he was talking about, his Shabbat is really an important time as a Reform rabbi to unplug, to not read newspapers, to not worry about what some politician said or what budget crisis there is or what challenges we face in the world, to let go of some of that stress. Because the reality is, it's there. We feel it every day. We feel that angst of people frustrating us in our world. And so Shabbat is a blessing to make sure we focus on what matters most, those blessings in our lives, those ideas in our lives, that which is most precious. So let's begin our prayers tonight with meditation. Let's close our eyes if we're so comfortable so doing. Take a deep breath in, breathing God's gift to each and every one of us, and breathe out our gift to this world. To breathe in the blessings that we can feel, that we can experience, that we can appreciate. Maybe breathe out the anxieties, the anxiousness, the stress, the worries. Breathe in the things that make us feel good, the connections we know we have with those in community, connections maybe with family who are maybe in this community, in this town, or maybe distant but are still those we love, connections with friends. Blessings is a part of who we are. Breathe out the toxicity that sometimes exists in relationships, sometimes we experience in our world, maybe sometimes when we're driving and someone cuts us off, or when we're shopping and we're worried about getting through a line quicker. With our breath, breathe in the gift of that, the gift of life. Breathe out the things that take our breath away, the worries, the challenges. The reality is, Shabbat is here for us. So as we pray tonight, as we sing our service, as we share our words, think about those blessings throughout them all. One of our teachers, Rabbi Ed Feinstein, teaches the idea that the prayer book and prayers are like going to a museum. You see beautiful artwork at the DIA, at any museum you go to, and sometimes the pieces connect with you, and sometimes they don't. What Rabbi Michael Moskowitz, likes might not resonate with Rabbi Daniel Schwartz. What Rabbi Daniel Schwartz loves may not be what engages me. Our prayers in our prayer book are based on thousands of years of teaching, of rabbis, of sages, their reflections, their thoughts. And maybe they connect, or maybe they don't, and that's okay. So use the prayer book, flip through it as a guide, as a way to engage, or just meditate. But most importantly, to focus on the blessings. Focus on that which is most special. And so with that, we kindle our Shabbos candles on this night. And I love what we always share with our preschoolers every Friday when we welcome Shabbat, as we give each of them their own Shabbos candle, that each of them makes our world a brighter place, that they bring light into our world. So can we be reminded of that each of us makes our world brighter? That each of you here in the sanctuary with us, each of you online, whether you're watching as a family, as a couple, as an individual, The world's better because you're a part of it. Maybe at home you want to light Shabbos candles with us. And if you weren't thinking that, I'll keep talking for another 30 seconds so you can get your Shabbos candles out and you can join us. So you're reminded the world's a better place because you're in it. Tell yourself that. Remind yourself of that. Share that as a blessing as we light these candles together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And so we begin with our prayers, our call to worship as we rise together. If you'd like to use the prayer book, we are on page 20. We rise if we're comfortable and able to do so as we sing, Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bivaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhmah poteh sha'arim, uvibunam eshaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, sader et kochavim b'mishmerotea barakia kirtzono. Praised are you, our God, ruler of the world, who brings about the evening star. Your wisdom makes the dawn appear. You differentiate times and seasons of our lives. The stars follow their courses as a sign of a divine creative force in the universe. You have created the day and night. Even though you cause the day to disappear and you bring on the night, you develop the separation and distinction one from the other. We call you ruler of the universe, but you are our living God. May you create understanding among us so we might never take nature for granted. Praised are you, our Creator, who causes night to fall. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol vavcha u'v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta b'am v'shibtecha b'veitecha uv'lektecha b'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu ototafot pein einecha uchtavtam amazot beitecha uv'isharecha Aman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem gedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim l'hiot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. You shall love the eternal your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. They shall be a symbol before your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I, the Eternal, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I, the Eternal, am your God. These eternal words have been a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. Faith and choice bring understanding to the soul and sensitivity to the heart. In all times and places our God, has been a part of our lives. Our faith has been our rock and our help. We witnessed God's wonders when we went free from Egypt. When slavery's chains were broken, we witnessed it. May those who have the faith to believe also have the wisdom to be kind. O God, in whom we have all hope, we glorify your name now as our people have praised you throughout history. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar ba'kodesh, Nora tehilot, o sefele, Nora tehilot, o sefele, malchutecha, ra'uvanecha, bokei hayam, lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed.
In preparation for the Amidah, we rise together and take a moment for our own private meditations, either following the words of our prayer books on page 25 or those our hearts might prompt.
Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh HaKol, ve'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo V'Yahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah, Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach, Umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech nuflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bar gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umchaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You are holy, and your name is holy, and we sing your praises every day. Praised are you, the holy God. Please be seated.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
Let us lie down in peace, O God, and permit us to wake up in the security of knowing that we are safe and loved. Be a shield around us and keep enemies, disease, violence, homelessness, and hunger far away from those we love. Keep us safe in the shadow of your wings, for you are our protector. You show compassion and mercy when you permit us the experience of seeing the shelter of your peace. Give to your people Israel and the world a time of peace.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
As Israel has preserved the Sabbath, so the Sabbath has preserved Israel. It is an everlasting covenant between God and the children of Israel. It is a reminder of creation. For in 6 days God created the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day God sanctified all life with rest.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. B'tov b'yinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
Together we read our prayers for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands. And may the love of your name, Lord, hallow every home and every heart. Blessed is the eternal God, the source of peace. Turn in our prayers to think of those who are in need of healing, who are in need of a refuah shlema. As we think of those friends, we take Torah out and walk around with it, knowing that Torah has given our people strength for thousands of years. And we hope that those words continue to inspire us to act, to check in on those friends and family, and to partner with God to bring about that refuah shlema. Please rise. Nishberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel Hu yivarech et acholim. Merciful God, who blessed our ancestors, send your blessings to our loved ones who are stricken with illness or anxiety. To Alyssa Ayudo, Doreen Billett, Rachel Brewer, Michael Brody, Rhonda Brown, Morris Brown, Larry Burke, Karen Kasman, Marvin Cohen, Molly Cotent, Barbara Essrig, Sandy Flair, Joseph Goldring, Batia Batbesha Panina, Susan Greenberg, Charles Gross, Andrew Halo, Hank Heiser, Jerry Hoffman, Rhonda Hoffman, Jane Jacobs, Ephraim Kessler, Serafina Coffrin, Marta Lazar, Henry Leopold, Margot Levin, Libby McIntyre, Zoe Marcus, Joyce Meza, Mark Meiji, Allison Mertzman, Lev Herschel Ben Batami, Jennifer Morrow, Perry Moss, Lori Moss, Scott Miles, Rabbi Robert Nosenchuk, Razel Bat Leah Miriam, Leah Elisheva Bat Avram Vachana, Patty O'Callahan, Annette Pines, Eileen Porcelli, Melanie Pohl, Julia Pulver, James Raftery, Joanne Reed, Alan Rosen, Sue Ross, Dr. Bruce Rubin, the St. Damon family, Micha Chuna Ben Sima Freda, Amy Selmanoff, Rita Seidman, Bernard Sklar, Barbara Storm, Diana Thomas, Helene Wolf, all those battling the coronavirus, the 53,117 American troops who have been injured in Iraq and Afghanistan and the surrounding areas to date, as well as all the names in our hearts. May God grant them a refuah shlema, complete healing of mind, of body, and of spirit.
Mi shevera avoteinu mekor habracha bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
Continue on page 41 with our concluding prayers, the words of the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
The mystics teach us the Kaddish has different meanings every time it's recited. In their minds, the prayer that links earth to heaven and bridges the chasm between the living and the dead. The Kaddish is the assurance of souls enduring the human spirit indestructible, a prayer that permits a child to remember a parent and a parent to remember a child. It's an opportunity to bind wounds and bring generation closer to generation. In light and darkness, it's all of these and more. For it is our people's memory of the best that life has to offer. It's time when our prayers, our thoughts turn to those taken from our community, died in this past week and month through Shoshim. We mark friends and family of our congregation. Ira Shapiro, Dale Boski, Dina Lindquist, Henry Baskin, Sanford Golan, Matthew Hushka, Susan Coquille Stillwater, Marilyn Siegel, William Wasserman, Jeffrey Emmer, Donald Carmine, as well as the 7,038 Americans of our armed forces have been killed in Iraq, Afghanistan, surrounding areas to date. The 710,530 Americans who've lost their lives to the coronavirus. Linking their names and names as yard sites we mark on the Shabbat. Those anniversary of house meeting love we commemorate. Beverly Appel, Olivia Aronoff Kinsella, Cantor Henry Blank, Erwin Burke, Lillian Cantor, Kim Lynette DeCapiti, Jerry DeBruzen, Harry Foster, Bill Gamzu, Hazan Goldman, Robert Harris, Jordan Isaacs, Abraham Linden, Shirley Vera Merzen, James Paterni, Tanya Pulper, George Roche, William Rock, Jerry Sherbin, Sarah Slavin, Stanley Volker, Mo Weinschel, Ronald Urofsky. Linking their names to all the names that we did not recite on the Shabbat. Those of every faith and family, those whose lives have touched ours, as well as those who have no one to stand and say Kaddish for them. So do we stand together as one community, as one family, and join in the immortal words of the mourner's Kaddish found on page 46 of our prayer books. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, b'yama divrach hirotei v'yamich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayedechol beit Yisrael, b'galal uvizman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach olam amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'nadar v'naleh v'nalal shemei d'kudasha b'richu v'amin kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata ta'aram v'yama v'imru, amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom v'ramav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. The source of peace, and peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved, here and everywhere, and let us say, Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
In a moment, we'll share a couple announcements with you, but as we do that, I know that there's a small delay for those that are watching on YouTube. And so if you have questions for those of you that are watching from home or somewhere else, please feel free to post those for our Tish in the chat, and we'll be able to answer some of those as well. I think it's a really cool thing. I was talking to somebody this week who's been at our services, not a member, and talking about what they wanted to bring back to their congregation. They were sharing some of the challenges that their congregation is feeling and seeing, and said, you know, I was at this congregation where they do a question and answer as a way for people to be able to learn about Jewish laws, Jewish traditions, because we come in and we assume that people have grown up with these, have known some of these things, know what part of the traditions of our community is, and we never really explain them. And said, Temple Shir Shalom does this question and answer. Wouldn't it be great if we did that too? And so I think that's one of the great things. Oftentimes when we have a bar about mitzvah family here, we'll talk about that we have lots of guests, and if you see something during the service that you're curious about, or you have something that you're wondering about in terms of Jewish practice that you've seen, somebody else did, or that you grew up with, that it's a great opportunity in a moment to be able to ask those questions. In terms of a few announcements, some things that are going on to be able to share. I know that online there are some people that are planning on taking our Intro to Judaism class, and that's starting off this Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and there's still space available. You can either take that class online or in person, and just call the office and they'll be able to give you some more information about that. An hour later at 8 o'clock, I know Paulette and Bob are really excited about it because we are bringing back trivia. And our first night of the fall trivia is starting on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. You can put together your own team. It's general trivia. You don't have to have all the Jewish questions and answers. We ask a little bit of everything. The one category that we always do is some events that happened on that day in history. So events that happened on October 13th in history. If you study up on that, you'll probably get a couple points if you look on the internet for things.
And also, there's an Israeli whiskey tasting on Tuesday evening at 7:30. All you have to do is register by Monday for that, if you're interested at all. We have representatives from Milk and Honey Distillery from Tel Aviv, the first Israeli distillery, bringing 5 different whiskeys for us to sip and try in the social hall. It is limited in number, and we're about to reach that, so if you're interested, register soon so we can get you in there. But it should be a lovely evening together as well. And Yiftach Leket, our community shliach, working in Federation, who's from our partnership region, he'll be joining us as well. And the two of us will be sharing a little bit about Israel, the culture, the whiskey culture there, what's evolving as well. I don't know very much about it, so Yiftach is sharing that. I'll share about drinking in Israel. I don't know. But your questions. What did I do?
Nomi wants to know.
What did I do during quarantine? I slept a lot. I'll tell you that. The first half of quarantine, I was not feeling great, and I was exhausted. And I slept. The shows I would try to watch, I really wasn't focused on too much. But I did get to watch the new season of Money Heist. So that's one recommendation. I did binge that. The second half of my quarantine, I was taking care of my wife, who I got sick and I shared COVID with her. So I'm glad that no one at Temple besides my wife that I came in contact with has caught that in our time. So that was a relief. But obviously living under even though we were separated from my first, part of the quarantine, and she was in one half of the house and me in the other, it was too late already. And by Friday, she was a positive test and wasn't feeling good either. So I got to take care of her. Ask her that question, and she'll say, no, he didn't. So, anyway, caught up with some old friends on the phone who were supposed to come in, who I didn't get to see in person last week. Talked to some people and family. That was nice, too. Thanks for noticing I was gone and missing for a week, Nomi.
Dean, you had a question?
The question from Parashat Noah, this week's Torah portion, the story of Noah.
As he gives that too, because you've got your Torah commentary out. Do you know what chapter and verse, so that those looking up online or at home might be able to find that real quick and tell you the Hebrew?
So, yell it out, Dean, when you find it. So in Parashat Noah, this week's Torah portion, the end of the Noah story, of course, who gets on the ark that are humans are Noah and Mrs. Noah. We don't have her name. And Noah and Mrs. Noah's 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Yafet. Yeah, Yafet are their 3 sons and their wives as well. Those are the 8 humans on the ark. Afterwards, Dean points out that they seem to be speaking different tongues, different languages, But then we get this next story of the Tower of Babel, where all of humanity is speaking the same language, and we try to build this great tower and to reach God, and God is angered by this and destroys the tower by making everyone speak a different language, and so 1,000 languages, and that's the story told of why we all speak different languages. So how does that jive, those two stories next to each other, and what do we know about Noah's sons, Rabbi?
Well, my guess is that you're looking somewhere around chapter 10, verse 31. There's a reference there that says, "These are the descendants of Shem, according to their clans and languages, by their lands, according to their nations. These are the groupings of Noah's descendants, according to their origins, their nations, that branched out over the earth after the flood." And the Hebrew word is lil shonotam, and it comes from lashon. So our words, our speech, the language that we use, that's there. And so in their languages, as they had, and so it has it. 2 verses later, though, is when we see it says, everyone on earth had the same language and the same words. So as we look at it, seems to contradict it if we were looking at, however, the Hebrew is a little bit different when it says everyone on earth had the same language. There they say Safa for language. So Lashon could be understood in that way as in our own accents. So very much so like we have here in the U.S., you can go to Pennsylvania, and that's supposed to be the norm for the United States, but you've got your Southern drawl, you've got the East Coast dialect. There's different accents that we use, different dialects that we use throughout the country, but we're all using the same language. And so I imagine that if we were going to parse Lashon, Devarim, Safa, that's probably how we would parse it, to be able to say we all had our own we all spoke the same language, the own Safa, but different dialects of it at the time.
Excellent. Any other questions? Well, we give thanks for the sweetness of this day and our time together as we raise the glass of wine for the Kiddush.
Yay. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim, Rabbi.
Time. Now we can see why Rabbi was part of the National League, and I cheered for the National League and probably would have ended up in the American League.
What's that?
For baseball. Referencing your opening remarks.
What about that?
Your beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you very much.
We
Yes.
rise together for our closing benediction. Please rise.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you. May God protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God shine upon you, and may God shine through you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always be a part of who you are, of who we are, giving us all our hopes, all our blessings, most of all giving us the blessing of shalom, of peace in our heart, in our mind. May we bring more peace into our world.
V'yasem lecha shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Oh, the challah? Because we do challah, it's part of our summer services. And because we, but wintertime, we end up eating before services. No? Oh, well, guess what? When you're a rabbi, you can make the rules.